Walking a path along the roots of Pikes Peak, you take a fork in the road to the Anselm Society Digital Pub. Inside is a raucous conversation on the arts, faith, and why someone turned the lights off all of a sudden. At a corner table by the fire are three people. One of them is saying that someone should really check the fuse box. Not him, of course, but, someone. And that's me, Matthew Multnomah. And welcome to Believe to See, a podcast of the Anselm Society Arts Guild. Here at Believe to See, we explore the relationship between faith, art, and storytelling. Our goal is to help you connect the great story, the great stories, and our own stories in order to understand what it means to live with a Christian imagination. Now, listeners, you may have heard that we here at the Anselm Society Arts Guild have divided our guild into three sub-guilds, three affinity groups, specialties, clans. I forget what terminology Krista and Gianna came up with, but I do know that we have one group for writers, one for musicians, and one for visual artists. Now, the reason I bring this up is that our guest tonight, Ali Gilkeson, would have a really hard time figuring out which of these subgroups to join. First off, Ali is a musician, and a very successful one at that. She's a member of a folk rock worship band called Rend Collective. This group got its start in Northern Ireland in 2007 and has had a tremendous amount of success ever since. Won awards, playing around the world, recording albums, and they're also a regular part of the soundtrack for the Multnomah family's minivan. But Ali's also a writer. Her children's book, Keeping the Light, is coming out from WaterBrook this September. So, what's it like going from musician to children's book author? That's one of the things we'll be discussing today. But first, let's bring on Mandy Hauk. Mandy, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm glad the lights came back on. I don't know who fixed that, but I know it wasn't you.
Oh, thank you. Yes. That is true. And that's true about the fuse box too. My wife knows where it is in the house, so that's great.
Yeah.
But speaking of lights, we have been trying to transition to video because I don't know if our listeners know this. There's this new thing called YouTube and videos that are apparently popular. So we're trying that. Mandy, what's your take on recording podcasts on a video?
Well, since I am always the oldest person on the podcast, that's, whatever. But if the ring light is bright enough, then you can't see.
Oh,
It's magic.
Whatever.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, gone are the days that I can be in my pajamas now, but that's okay.
I'm sorry. That is true.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I might be wearing pajamas pants. You don't know.
Yeah. And look at me. I'm wearing the t-shirt with my publisher's logo on it. I'm just a company man
marketing.
here. Yep.
Snatch.
So speaking of podcasting being like a medium that is both audio and visual, that's a good enough segue to bring in our guest, Ali Gilkeson. Ali, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I love the smoothness. That's a good enough.
Oh, thank you.
That's perfect.
Thank you. I'm known in podcasting circles for my incredibly smooth segues.
But yes, the segue king.
Yes. It's very similar to my parking jobs. I was
They get there eventually, right?
You know, in the end. You all get there in the end, exactly.
And the other drivers get a good lesson in patience, so everybody wins.
Win.
Everybody. Yep.
All right, so Ali, I gave a very brief introduction, but please tell us about yourself, your background, how you came to this point with your book.
Sure. My name is Ali Gilkeson. I hail from a little coastal town in Northern Ireland called Carrickfergus. And a while back, we started a band called Rend Collective. And doing that, we were mainly focused in the UK and Europe. And then one day out of the blue, a guy, I'm not sure if you know him, his name's Chris Tomlin. He just sent us an email and was like, hey, do you want to come on tour with me and Louis Giglio? So we're like, we need to pray about this for a while.
Yeah.
And after about 30 seconds, we're like, yes, we're in. So that brought us over to the United States, and we started touring over here, and one thing led to another. And throughout that journey, we wrote a song called My Lighthouse that really struck a note with what we saw was such a wide range of people, really from babies and kids all the way up to, I mean, the eldest person. And so through that, I was like, I would love to create a kids book that went along with this. We were getting all these videos in from schools doing the song and camps and VBSs and all the thing. And I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be so great? And I've always been such a huge fan of kids books. I have 3 kids that we read every night still. And a big part for me was I wanted to write books that everyone would enjoy. And that was the same theme with our songs in Rend Collective. We wrote songs for everybody. And that if you heard it, you know, everyone would find a connection point at some stage. And that was the real heart behind the story of these books.
That is really great to hear.
Well, I have to interject that this little known around the guild, because I don't advertise. I'm not known for singing. However, I am known for being goofy, which is all you really need to be to lead the VBS music.
Absolutely.
And we did My Lighthouse several years ago.
Yes.
And that was, I mean, it was the one when we would take requests at the end. It was always the one
Yes.
they wanted to do. And it was great for me because I already knew the song.
Yes.
You know, and I was like, oh, good. A song that's like, I mean, not to slam VBS songs, but they're not all fantastic.
Right.
And so My Lighthouse was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I'm so glad.
yeah.
And listeners, looking ahead just a little bit, My Lighthouse might have something to do with her book, Keeping the Light. Put a pin in that for now. But before we do that, if you will indulge me one kind of irrelevant question, I was so curious to hear your accent because I know you're from Northern Ireland, but now you live in Nashville.
Yes.
Some people, as we know, they'll pick up the accent of the region they're in. Others keep their accent.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it sounds to me like you have largely retained it. Was this a conscious effort? Do you know other Northern Irish musicians who've gone Nashville? How's this all gone for you?
Coming from Northern Ireland, we wake up and do a deep Northern Irish meditation. Just 10 minutes every morning. No, actually, I feel it's funny. When I go back home, I was just back home seeing all my family. My dad was turning 70. And they give me so much gripe about, oh, you've changed and your accent, you're so American now. And then when I come back here, it's like, you're so Irish. I'm like, I just don't win. But yes, it's funny. I mean, I will change certain words so that in Nashville people understand what I'm saying. But whenever I'm back home there, it gets real Irish, it gets real country, and it gets real fast. So I sometimes have to remind myself, particularly on recordings, you're going, slow it down, slow it down. But it's interesting because my 3 kids are so American. And when I take them home, my parents just can't get over it. They're just like, oh my goodness,
what have you done to our grandchildren?
Right, yeah. Exactly. And then I hear when after they've been there for a while, particularly around my dad, you know, their inflections go up and down. Mom, can I have a turn? And da 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 da. It's like, oh, there they are.
That's so cool.
I love it so much. I love it so much. There's this family at our church where mom is American, dad is English. Initially raised their girls here, but then they moved back to England when the girls were like 7 and 9.
Yes.
So then they came back and visited, and they went from American accent to full-blown English. And I was like,
it happens.
Can I just record you all talking for a while just for like science? I'm fascinated by this whole project. Let's go back now to, I want to start with your time as a musician to see if you think that sort of laid the seeds for your book. Because obviously we talked about Lighthouse and your music, and your book focuses on Lighthouse as a theme. But more than that, tell us about what your role was with Rend Collective, you know, and how your musical juices were flowing there. And if you feel that may have contributed at all to this writing portion.
Yeah. So in Rend Collective, I played keys and percussion, accordion, anything I could pick up at the time. That was always the fun thing about Rend, was you would just be like, oh, we're going to switch instruments all the time and kind of keep people on their toes. And a lot of it as well, for me, it was a real opportunity to express creativity in worship. So it was a time to express yourself to God in a way that was creative and fun. At the time, we had seen a lot of worship and a lot of worship services where people were like really intense and really serious. And we're like, you know, God talks about joy an awful lot. And we weren't really seeing that. And so for me, that was my real heart whenever I was on stage, of just going, I want to release joy, and um in any way I could. And so there was a little bit of performance aspect to that, I would say, of just going, you know what, I'm just going to let it go and have fun and praise God, and whatever shape and form that looks like is awesome. And I do think as well, in terms of with the band, a lot of songs, poems, anything that it's kind of storytelling. In Ireland, we are big into storytelling. I mean, even when I was just back there, we were up with my whole family to 3 or 4 a.m. every morning, just telling stories. And you make a story out of nothing. Like, that's the thing. You'd be like, well, with these like deep, meaningful things, like sometimes, but other times you just make a story about something really stupid that happened. But we love creating a vibe and holding suspense and creating a moment, and I think that was the kind of main transition of going, like, whatever we creating in songs, whether it's a story that we've heard, a story about what we're going through, a journey that we're on, let's put that into something that you can read. And for me, I was going, and the amazing thing about doing kids books and kids music is going, you can be as creative as you want, because anything goes. Like, you can put cowbells in there, you can put sleigh bells, you can put a banging on weird tins, anything, and it's like, oh, it's kids music, it's fine. It's kind of the same as with Christmas music. And I felt the same with the kids book. I was like, I have the opportunity here to make a story and put anything in there, and anything can happen in a kid's book. There's no limits. So that sort of fun aspect was really the transition for me.
So you mentioned earlier how a big part of your inspiration was you wanted to bring the sense of joy back to worship. And you also mentioned earlier how your music has this broad age appeal. Like I mentioned, my young kids really love your music. So does my wife. So do lots of, older folks. Did Was this an intentional choice on your part to, like, hey, let's have music that kids like? Or did you sort of aim for the joy and you sort of swept the kids along with you?
Yeah, kind of a little bit. I mean, I suppose at the start we were deemed as like the hipster band before hipsters were a thing. But then it turns out that kids love hipster music. And I remember we were touring around the UK, and in the UK, because of the crowds we were drawing, we had to do our shows in like O2 venues or like secular venues. We couldn't really play in churches because they didn't have the capacity. And in those venues, you have to line up outside because you have to be searched as you go in, things like that. And I remember walking down the street, and I was like, "What is this crowd? Like, who are these people? Why are they standing here?" And it was so diverse. It was the most diverse crowd. I'm like, "What are they waiting for?" And then I'm like, "Oh, they're waiting to get into our concert."
Oh, that's so
It was
cool.
so funny to see. Um, and again, it wasn't something that we set out of going, we're going to write songs that like everybody, we're just writing what we feel is right and what feels good. And we're not afraid to step outside the boundaries and the lines as much as we can. And yeah, that's what happened. It just struck a chord with the masses. So it was great.
Well, I will say I actually have seen you in concert. I was trying to remember what year and I couldn't. So, but I think it was your first time in America, or at least in Colorado, because your lead singer was like, "How do you guys breathe?" And like,
Yeah.
because he was talking about the altitude.
Yes.
It was with Audrey Assad and I
Oh,
think
10th Avenue North.
Avenue North.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and but I remember you guys made us stand up and like jump up and down with
Yeah.
you and sing along, and it was unlike any other concert. Just like
Yeah.
joy is the word that
Yeah.
comes to mind. And I think I had heard one or two songs by you guys because I was a teacher and
Mhm.
there were high school kids at my school that were just obsessed,
Yeah.
but I wasn't really really aware of you guys, and then after that, I was, like, downloading your music and listening to it on the airplane, and it's
Yeah.
very good workout music
It is.
too, by
It
the way.
is. I agree.
Very
I
good.
agree. It's good timing. Yes, exactly. That's the Irish
But it's
way.
so joyful, like, not
Yeah.
just that it gets you moving, but that it
Yeah.
gives it, you really I think I feel the joy and the love for the Lord that you guys have.
Yeah.
It comes through. It's not just that it's a fast, peppy beat or a catchy song, it's more than that. It's definitely more than that.
Yeah, we try to fulfill the song with weight and substance of going,
Yes.
like there's joy to be had here. And I mean, one of my
Mhm.
favorite moments, I think one of my favorite moments we ever played was we were in this venue in Atlanta. It's a big venue. I can't remember what it's called now. Of course, it's blanking. But it was the first night we released bubbles into the audience, and it was during
Oh,
my lighthouse, and the faces of all these like cool kids and adults and
yeah.
people trying to, just like, and it was
Yeah.
so amazing. And I mean, just it's just that well within you of going, okay, it's okay to be there during worship. It's okay to be like overjoyed and expressive and all of these things. It doesn't have to be this like serious, intense. I mean, there's times for that for sure,
Right.
but let yourself go. Like, let the joy of the Lord just do its thing, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, so we talked about the music aspect then, how you have this motivation of bringing joy, and along the way you sweep in a huge diverse set of people who appreciate that. But now let's go to the book itself, because the book is especially for children,
Mhm.
and writing a children's book takes a very particular skill set. So I was wondering what led you to decide, okay, I'm gonna write a children's book in particular.
For me, it was I had read so many kids' books that was very frustrating. and what was amazing for me, so I'm a huge fan of a guy called Oliver Jeffers. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He's a children's book author. He wrote things like The Day the Crayons Quit, and
I love that book.
right.
I love
So
that book.
he's from Belfast. He's from like we're from 15 minutes away, and so his books, when I would pick, like when my kids would pick them off the shelves to bring them over, I would feel like, yes, here we go. Here's a moment we're going to share together that everyone's going to enjoy. And it's the same thing that what Pixar did, right? So Pixar said, you know what, we're going to create animated movies that kids are going to love, that the parents are going to sit there and enjoy with them, and I'm going to put little sparks in there for the parents and stories and characters in there for the kids. And, it just, for me, I'm like, that's where it's at. I want to do that. I love that. And so, yeah, when I was like, I want to write a book that I can enjoy with my kids, that we're proud of, that's got little funny sparks in it, and that looks beautiful. Like for me, that was a huge part of it as well. That when I open every page, I go, I would put that on my wall. I would put that on, I would wallpaper my house in this. and so I feel like I did accomplish it. So I have the first book, which is called My Lighthouse, that came out last year, and then Keeping the Light is the sequel that comes out next month. And it was such a fun process. I absolutely loved it. Um, it's not, just lyrics from. There's no lyrics from the song actually. It's just a pure story about a little boy called Finn and just following his journey and off the coast of Ireland, and it's a great old time.
Yeah. So first off, one note on the day the crayons quit. At one point, because I strive for excellence when I'm reading to my kids, I tried to do each of the 10 different crayons who quit in a different voice.
Yes.
I ran out really quick, but I tried so hard.
Oh,
I thought my New York accent actually turned out pretty well, but
color was New York. Blue, I feel like.
I would really switch it up depending on the mood. Sometimes New York would be
Okay.
green, sometimes blue, sometimes red. You just need to improv it. But
Yeah.
so so let's go to the topic now. And like you said, both of these books have to do with lighthouses. Now, obviously, you had the very popular song about the lighthouse, but I'm guessing you have more than that for finding that as your key organizing themes. So, what about lighthouses drew you to that for these books?
Honestly, I mean, so I grew up in a little town, Carrickfergus, and we have a lighthouse. It's in the middle. It's how do I describe it? So the capital, which is Belfast, runs in with a lock. And so from my house, I can actually see two lighthouses. There's Donaghadee Lighthouse and Whitehead Lighthouse. And so it was something I grew up walking around, being there. It was just constantly there. And at night, you'd see yourself looking at it. And um, it's such an amazing symbol. And until we had written the song, um, it's one of the things, when you become aware of something, then you're like, oh, I see this everywhere now. And so every church we went into, there was a lighthouse carpet, a lighthouse structure, a lighthouse, and like, it is such a good symbol of hope and consistency. And I feel like it gives a really simple symbol for kids, particularly, to be like, I get it. I get it. Like, this does not go off. Like, this is guiding you home. It's consistent. It's always there. It's reliable. It's strong. When storms come, when you can't see, when you don't know where you're at, the lighthouse is there. And for me, like, my kids got it straight away. They understood it and could then also relate it to wherever they find themselves in the day, and you know report back to it and come. It was just a real good anchor point of going, oh, I get it, I understand. And that's why for me, I'm like, this is perfect for kids or for anyone to be like, you know what, there is a light in your life that's not going to go out, and if you allow it, it will guide you home, but you have to follow it, and trust it. So yeah, that was just for me. And again, I was actually, when I was back in Northern Ireland there, I took my kids on the walk to the lighthouse, and I brought I brought the books, and we did some pictures, and it was so sweet, just going, this is where it started. Like, this was the actual place where we thought everything up, and that has brought us to this point of keeping the light coming out next month. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I will say just to that, I am just really amazed by how resonant the imagery and the symbol of the lighthouse just is for so many different people. My mom grew up in this little town on the shores of Lake Michigan, Ludington. People watching the video of this, I'm doing the Michigan map. It's right here. But for because of that lighthouse they have there is just an incredibly important local landmark. It means a lot to my mom. She'll have images of it all around. My grandma used to collect lighthouses, pictures, little ornaments, and keep them around the house, just because that lighthouse just resonated with them in a very special way. A lot, I think, for a lot of the reasons that you articulated. So then we take that, and I am just fascinated by the message of keeping the light, because I think it is such a great message to send out there. So I don't know if spoilers are really a thing when we're talking about a kid's book, but to the extent you can you sort of give the listeners a plot synopsis of what happens here and what the fundamental conflict is?
Absolutely. Well, I kind of feel, to give a good synopsis on keeping the light, my lighthouse that came out last year, it was basically about a little boy called Finn who lives in a lighthouse and doesn't like it because it's very different. And everybody else lives in a normal house, and he would much rather. So he sets off on an adventure in his 1986 rowboat where he gets lost at sea. And of course, the house that guides him home is his house. And he realizes, oh gosh, this house is so special, and I'm so glad it's mine. And then in keeping the light, Finn sees himself as a bit of an expert on lights because he has grown up under one his whole life, and his father is really passionate about turning lights off around the house, but not at the top of the house.
Yeah.
And so Finn decides, well, if this is all about saving money and the economy, well, I've got a great way to do that, because I've seen boats coming in and out, and not all these boats deserve this light because this light's special. And so Finn, when his dad nips out to the corner shop, he takes control of the lighthouse and becomes the lighthouse keeper, dresses for the part. And as he's watching boats come in and out, he decides, should I keep the light on or should I turn it off? And sometimes when some scary characters come along, or people that have done things to him in the past, he turns his light off. And thinking his dad would be really proud of him because he's, saving money and energy. But the dad comes rushing in, and he has a very hard lesson to learn that, it doesn't matter who people are or where they're from or what they've done, that everyone deserves this light. And it's not our job to make that decision and make that judgment. We're just keepers of the light, and we got to let it shine. And
Oh my goodness.
so it's just a real message of going, you know what? It kind of has two parts for me. For me, it's like for kids are going, no matter who comes along in your life, do not let them dim your light. You've got to be who you are. You have an opportunity to shine, and just let Jesus shine through you. But also, we got to let Jesus do his thing, and let, no matter what has happened or who people, everyone's welcome. We welcome everyone. We show kindness, we show respect, and we show the love of God in every circumstance. So it's a little bit of both, and yeah, but it's represented in a really fun, awesome way.
I just love the fact that you take the kids' spirituality and you take who they are so seriously. It's a fun, it's, like you said, it's children's book illustrations, which I did look online. They are beautiful. I love Finn's little face. Um, but these are serious um, lessons that we need. So the parents, as they're reading them to the children too, like I just love when stories aren't dumbed down or trimmed down for the child, because the sooner they understand these things, and just, it's seeds, you're putting seeds and into them in a delightful, gentle way, that I love that. And especially because it's the father that comes back. I assume there's like, God the Father and, the Son. So the father is coming back and saying, no, I want everyone to be
Yes.
safe and come. I love that. Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I love it. It's so fun for me. I just It turns out I love writing kids books, and working. Lee Wildish is the illustrator, and he's from the UK as well, and he just was so generous and kind, because I was, very fussy. Like, I want this on this page, I want this on this page. And he was just so accommodating and brilliant. Just it looks so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the cover right now, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And to that point you raised, Mandy, I love the message of this book because it's a difficult lesson. Like
Yeah.
it's something that, we as adults struggle with, right? You see people, like on the news, it's like, oh, why do good things happen to bad people? Like, why is this jerk so successful? That's just a fundamental issue of the human condition, right? You'd see Jesus' disciples always like, Jesus, can you please call down fire on these people? In
Yeah.
Jesus' response, God causes his rain to fall on the righteous and the unrighteous, right? And that it's such a difficult lesson. It shouldn't be, right? Because logically, we know that if we were in a situation where God would punish all the bad people right away, well, it's not like I'm always doing the right thing all the time, so I'm not sure why I think I'd make out well. It's good that God should gives graciously to everyone, but it's such a hard thing to grasp, especially for kids. Like, I remember struggling with this very thing when I was a kid, and I think this sort of book would just be a really useful thing for so many kids wrestling with a really important issue. So in in that leads to the we're winding down. So just have a few closing questions for you then. And that is the process of writing the kids book, right? Because like you mentioned, talking about some of the books that you admire, the good kids books are the ones that are appealing to both the kids and the parents. They don't water things down, they don't dumb them down. And as you've shown, kids books should be able to communicate, even difficult truths to kids. What was your process for going about that in a kid's book to communicate a tricky idea in a way that's gets the point across, but is also good prose and is
Yeah.
easy to read? How did you
Yeah.
do that?
Don't know.
Just in a couple seconds. Just,
Just
you have about
some
a minute. You
some
can
magic
no.
sauce, and went to wishing well. No, I suppose for me, I always have the idea of what I want the book to portray. So for instance, the first book was really like, you're in a situation that you look different. You're nothing's normal in your life, but then you realize how significant your situation is. And from the second one, it was going, okay, I want it to be that this light is for everyone, and no matter what you've done or where you come from, it's going to shine. And then just taking that, so I'm like, how do I make that fun? Well, you're not going to talk about like, I know, bad people, so it's like, let's make them parrots. Okay, so parrots come in and they look scary, and or like the school bully, something that's relatable. And again, for me, it's going, I particularly for kids books, whenever my kids would pick a book and it was really long, and you're like, oh, I'm trying to get you to bed, and you've picked the longest book. Oh, how do I shorten this down? And I wanted to make sure these books, 5 minutes, you're out, you're done, you're good. And so, okay, we need to write this in a way that captures the moment, but also does it efficiently. And I don't know, it just took a lot of writing and rewriting and shortening and diverting, and it came together. So we don't know. We'll see what happens if Finn continues on another journey or if something else pops up. But I'm excited to keep writing and keep trying to do what I do.
Absolutely. So, like I said, we are running low on time, but before you go, where can we find more about you, about your writing, about Rend Collective, anything else you want to give a particular plug to right now?
Yes, my books are all available at aligilkeson.com or wherever you buy books. Target, Barnes and Noble, they're everywhere. And it's coming out on the 23rd of September, Keeping the Light. And it's a great resource for kids if you need a Sunday school prize, if you need, honestly, for Christmas presents, back to school presents, first communions, christening. I'm like, get a kid a book because it will last, and you'll read it over and over and over again. And that's something I love about kids books, is that they have this timeless aspect to them. I can't wait for the day that my kids are reading these books to their kids, And rendcollective.com is all the tour dates of the guys going out. We did bring out a kids album that was called Sparkle Pop Rampage, and I still love it so much. I still love it. I play it with my kids all the time. And so if you need some new kids music in your life, and you think for the van, and you think for the car ride, for the carpool, Sparkle Pop Rampage is going to save your life. So it's going to get you away from the shark.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Once again, it's Ali Gilkeson, the books, My Lighthouse, and the brand new one, Keeping the Light. Thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Really, it was wonderful to meet you.
Yes, lovely to meet you.
And listeners, as you can probably tell, things are winding down at the Anselm Society Digital Pub. The fire's down to embers, the customers are trundling home, and you've polished off your final glass. Once again, Believe to See is a podcast of the Anselm Society Arts Guild. If you have an extra, say 30 seconds or so to spare right now, please rate and review the show on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you next time.